You lose your cash in the flesh with a package for China, so let's go. So guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be doing a little bit of a chit chat about and an unboxing of an Anbernic product. Yeah, I didn't do an unboxing this way, so I was thinking let's go with the show and let's see what we're going to be having today. Yep, the king of devices, the king of handhelds has sent, or actually has finally shipped out my order. And this is going to be the brand new Anbernic. Yep, the Anbernic, the brand that actually has so many different freaking devices. And they're having now more like the ultimate, I think it was like the Game Boy SP device. So I just wanted to do an unboxing and let's check it out together if this is going to be worth adding to the collection and keeping. So nowadays we do see a lot of these flip devices, the RG34XXSP. This is just going to be maybe the ultimate way to play your Game Boy Advance games, where we do have all kinds of different variations. I love these flip devices. And of course Anbernic will give us, like say, these very cool, let's say, solutions. So I went for the, let's say, the retro look. I loved it. Like, or it's going to be translucent, or it's going to be having the retro look. I love these buttons. So when it comes to the form factor itself, we already have like a flip couple of devices. We have seen even the Paukedi V90, but we have come so far. So when it comes to these quality devices, some of the Mio Mini, or it was like the Mio Mini Flip 2, had some problems with the hinges. So I'm curious how this is going to be surviving, but everything seems to be looking quite nice. So it seems to be like a solid construction when you're looking at how you actually can bend it. This is as far it goes actually. So let's do a quick overview. So in here we're having the SD card number 1, volume control, a USB-C or the OTG port. So if you're really curious what you can even do more with this. We do have like a separate HDMI mini. We're having the 4, let's say, top buttons or shoulder buttons. And what I find absolutely amazing that they went for the configuration of different height. So if you're going to be holding your device like that, it's going to be so much easier to actually use it. So when it comes to over here, we're having the M button over here for the menu, with the micro switch D-pad, the ABXY, and the button configuration is quite interesting. Everything is micro switch, so with like a very fast direct input. We're having tiny joysticks, so I'm not going to be actually using this. Select and start at the front. We're having the headphone jack out and some information at the back over here. So seems to be this thing has a 3300 milliamp battery, the on-off switch, and the option for adding an extra SD card. So let's power it on. The thing has some juice. Ah, there we go. Kind of interesting that none of these LEDs are actually lit up at the moment. So it's going to be checking out. Let's plug it in later on to see if we can actually charge it. And charging, that's something we're going to be doing on the top over here with the USB port. So let's see what kind of software that we're going to be running on. We're going to be having the basic software that we have seen before out of the box. That's also why I wanted to do this unboxing for you. So the display looks absolutely nice. We do have this very glossy touch, which you can see over here. So I'm curious if this is going to be like finger. It's going to be like having some scratches fairly easy. But how it goes with the software itself. So in here we're finding actually different kind of menus. So let's see, maybe in the future we can see what kind of different software we can actually do. But if you want to just don't want to tinker with, let's check it out. So in here we're finding Place Portable, PlayStation 1, Nintendo DS. We're having over here all kinds of different systems for the arcade, GBA, Super NES, Sega 32X. That's kind of cool. Going to be opening it up, you can actually see over here even having a nice screenshot. Man, that clicking sound, I found it really satisfying, by the way. PC Engine, then in here the Retro Arc, N64, NDS, Open Bore. So far I'm going to be just randomly checking. It seems to be having all nice over, I say just all of them have like the nice pictures, so that's nice. So we do maybe have some new systems over here. Game & Watch. Mega CD. Okay. Another Sega 32X over here. But then we're going to be using, of course, through the Retro Arc. But out of the box, we have the App Center over here. We can even watch videos. Okay, we're going to be getting into this. Having the demo mode. Okay, but you can even watch videos if you want to. Can I get out of this freaking thing? There we go. There's a different, let's say, app you're going to be actually opening it up. Close the app, and this way we can go back. And then of course we're having ebook file manager over here. We can get into the file manager, mess around with the files if you want to. Be careful with it that you're not going to be messing up stuff. And here we can just fairly easy quit by the M button. So if you're going to be just navigating with the basic software, yeah, it works just fine when it comes to that. PlayStation Portable is going to be more like an hit and miss situation, but we're going to be testing out a couple of these games. It's not going to be having the best screen when it comes to that for the PlayStation Portable, but it's going to be great for other games. A 3.4-inch display with a resolution by 720 by 480, 3300 mAh battery for around 8 hours of game time, and we do have all kinds of features like rumble motor, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity 4.2 and HDMI out. So moving on to the settings, what can we do in here? System information. So we're running firmware version 1.0.1. So in here having the information about the SD card, how much storage we still have left, the battery voltage. And the model, the kernel version is the Allwinner H700. CPU cores that enable, and in here we can even have the maximum frequency and showcase with 1.5 gigahertz. Lock screen, we can be changed within a certain time period. So let's say 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5, 10 and never. The backlight brightness, this thing has been set from level 1 and 8 is the maximum. And I think 6 is going to be perfect for this video. Date and time and some other stuff that we can do. Different kind of backgrounds that we can change out. I have no idea if you can actually add new ones yourself. But it's kind of fancy. And also if you want to disable the sound you can actually hear when switching between modes, you can also actually shut it down. However, let's go over here to search. Let's say if you're going to be searching for Sonic games, let's see how fast it is. What I love about these things is actually the micro switch, but so far, no, it's kind of interesting that there is no Sonic in here. That is absolutely weird. But it does also showcase over here at the top what platform and what kind of emulator. You can see over here we're having the same game. This is for the normal emulators and this for the RetroArch emulator, or at least the RetroArch itself. That brings us back to the game cell itself. We're going to be testing out Game Room, going to be booting up a game, what you can actually do if it's going to be booting up. You can see we're having bezels with this. We can press the M button and in here we're finding the Quick Load Quick Save menu. Video display effect has been set to fast, it's actually just original. We have kind of interesting like with dot matrix, HD and scanline filters. So in here we can also adjust the backlight and brightness. The BIOS can be changed out, vibration can be turned on and off. Is of course supported by the emulator itself. And I'm really surprised by the audio quality for this tiny speaker. This sounds really good. So when it comes to the original out-of-the-box experience, it's okay. We have seen this many times before. They're just using the original software they've been using in different other devices. It's quite unfortunate, simply because we do have some audio delay with this particular one. The overall, I find it, not let's say the worst software out there, but it's still a little bit of a bummer, because there are so many different firmwares out there that our overall experience is going to be so much better. One of the things I really enjoy is just the D-pad itself, that it's very clickish, very nice to play with. You can also use the analog stick if you prefer that too. Find it not like the most comfortable overall experience when it comes to that. But yeah, this is absolutely great. Have a better software. It's going to be even better. But yeah, you can see we can make a quick load, quick save. And that's actually it. But let's try a little bit of a basic gaming with some Sega 32X. But when it comes to, let's say, basic emulation, you can just play these games without any problem whatsoever. I'm getting my ass always kicked by this game. I really need to play this more often. Ugh. Oh man, oh man. PlayStation Portable is one of those systems that will struggle sometimes with these devices. However, it has been set to one-time frame skipping. But let's see how it actually runs. Also forced to put in the full screen. So normally otherwise we're going to be having, if you're going to be forcing in the right resolution, we're going to be having two black bars on top and the bottom. Okay, so playing this with the D-pad is quite nice. Let's try the analog stick. You can see that it does struggle. But this is like unplayable. I do wonder if you're going to be putting different software on, if this is going to be improving when it comes to the overall gameplay. So the frames per second go everywhere sometimes. You get these massive dips, but throughout the game you can see actually that we do have an overall fun experience now. And that it's going to be forced into full screen, I personally don't really mind it. It looks absolutely amazing on this beautiful display. Pressing M will give you a different menu because we're running a different emulator now. But in here we can make a quick load, quick save if you want to. Let's see if I'm going to be using the right one over there. Okay. And then we can just exit and go back to the menu. But the thing I wanted to do actually now is just going to the different emulators, do deep dive into other stuff. I'm just going to check out the other emulators, see if this is going to be running okay. So let's go over here, RetroArch. I'm going to be testing out some PlayStation Portable. We can actually do that if you want to. Let's see how that's going to be looking with a different game. So let's choose Tekken 5. That's going to be a less demanding one. And maybe it run without too many problems. Okay, so what's kind of interesting but also weird. So if you're going to be looking into the menu itself. So they have been setting the running resolution to 2x. That makes no sense, seriously. Just use an original one, or at least like the normal one. So full screen is enabled and frame skipping even set to 2. Wow. Previous one had like set to 1, but let's go to the frames per second and let's continue and let's go. Let's get ready for the next battle. Yep, that's what we're going to be doing. This time you can actually see with the different emulators, you have the black bars over here. I don't find it really annoying, but I found that like full screen kind of nice. Let's get into the game. So also Tekken 5 seems to be enjoyable when it comes to that. So when it comes for PlayStation Portable, there are games playable if you're going to be tinkering with it. I do wonder if you're going to be putting different software on, how the compatibility and emulation performance will be. N64, another system I love to see emulated on these devices, cheaper devices. But yeah, it's going to be a hit or miss like we've seen with game boxes and everything else.
Welcome to Dolphin Park.
But still we're going to be trying and to see if we can actually play. Man, this freaking thing is loud.
Warm-up time. Follow that dolphin.
And thanks to the analog stick we can actually play it as it is, but is this really comfortable? Yeah. It's quite difficult to see at this point that it's going to be struggling with the emulation performance, but yeah, launch titles, I think they will be playable.
Start the race from the pause screen menu. Welcome.
But let's try a little bit of a gameplay over here. But it's actually amazing to see how far it actually has been coming with these, let's say, emulation devices. Because they're getting cheaper and cheaper, getting overall better quality in some cases, and the overall emulation performance is getting crazy. If you think about it, we couldn't even play 4 or 5 years ago N64 on such a cheap device. But out of the box, just great. But if you're going to be doing a quick load, quick save over here, you can actually see that we're having a different way because we're going to be playing through RetroArch at this point. So yeah, for emulation N64 it's going to be a hit or miss, but some games are playable. Emulation performance for the Dreamcast, you can see that it does struggle out of the box. So, and in particular when it comes to glitches and stuff like that. But we have reached the point that we can actually play some, let's say, Sega Dreamcast on the go. Rumble has also been enabled, so that's kind of cool. You can use the D-pad and the analog stick. I do wonder what kind of emulator we're using. I think it's going to be Reinvented. But the glitches you noticed in the title, if you're going to be having the right software and the right emulator, everything has been set up. I think it's going to be one of the many improvements you can actually get. Another test I wanted to do is, how is it with the D-pad? Yeah, it plays absolutely great, but how for fighting games? That is something I was really curious about. Okay, so, don't know why, but maybe this is like a personal handicap. But I need to get used to this. Because of the micro switch, I loved it, the way how reactive it is. If you're going to be dashing, stuff like that, it's going to be super easy. Oh man. Oh yeah, this is really bad. Oh, there we go. Can be more like a personal handicap, but yeah, no. So at this point I'm not convinced when it comes to fighting games. Do wonder what other people think of it. Let me know in the comments. But one of the systems we need to try out, of course, is the Game Boy Advance, because this is going to be a very cool way to just experience these games. And that's what we're going to be doing, playing some old school Crash Bandicoot, where I was really satisfied at this point with the fighting game I actually play now. I must say that we're going to be playing some racing games or adventure games. They're going to be just fine with this, you know, I can really enjoy myself. And the micro switch button and joystick, or D-pad, I mean, it's going to be just a fun overall experience. Yeah, let's do a little bit of a Blood Bros, one of those arcade games I just love. Playing this as a kid in the arcade was so much fun. Also, this has been mapped to the joystick and the D-pad itself. And overall emulation seems to be working just fine. Of course, we cannot play in Killer Instinct on this, or some other really demanding MAME games, but most stuff will be just playable and a lot of fun. And also the soundtracks and everything seems to be working just fine. But of course we can play PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 1 on this, but you know, revisiting the old school stuff like PC Engine, another great system but amazing titles. That runs of course without any problem on here. And many different ports like Doom and other cool games like Quake are actually on here. So let's see if I can go into the video mode and go into the brightness, because man oh man. But yeah, I can still remember that I was actually playing this on the retro game from Anbernic, the first generation of stuff. So cool to actually see this game running. With the like shoulder buttons, you can mess around with this, but oh man, what a freaking nightmare. So when it comes to the DS, some of the games are playable, some aren't. And I mean not particularly when it comes to overall, let's say, performance. I mean particularly when you're going to be looking in how you're going to be playing this, because you can switch between the displays. You can also mess around with that. But if you're going to be playing games like this way, I'm just going to be honest, I am not the biggest fan of it, because I'm always messing with the screens itself. But let's purchase, let's start racing. It would be cool to have like a device that actually has like 2 screens later on in the future. But this is another way to actually play and just enjoy some Need for Speed Underground. The handles I cannot be used, is going to be for the touch. Just wanted to show between actually racing. And last but not least, let's do a little bit of an autonomous wave with the old famous game Dolphin Blue. A game that has so much struggles on many of the devices, and I mean particularly when it comes to cheap game boxes, game sticks. But it's crazy to see that we can actually have the option to just play this. You're gonna hear like it stutters, but would not be surprised that it's going to be playable in the future with different software. But again, out of the box, just wanted to show what you're getting. Oh, getting hit by the freaking first guy, but throughout the game. And oh, I want to crash it, but no, the battery is empty. But it was a good moment that the battery actually was empty. So we charged it, and we're going to also be doing a reboot and booting it up into the TV out function through the HDMI. But it's just insane to actually see that we can all do these things out of the box. So let's boot up a game and let's see how it looks on the big screen. You can also adjust the volume over here. That's kind of easy. But let's get into some gaming and some old school fun with some Colin McKay already, man. This is a game I've been playing so much back in the day on the PC. Also on the PlayStation 1, but the PC in land modus. That was such a lot of fun. But let's adjust the camera. There we go. Automatically it's going to be forcing it into the 4 battery aspect ratio. Going back to this. Oh man, it's super pixelated. But emulation performance also here is just great for PlayStation native resolution. So if you're going to be playing some PlayStation, and man, if you're going to be putting this on, let's say, a game box or a PC with emulation, then we're going to be needing some upscaling because, oh man, this pixelated stuff. And I'm playing on a 24-inch screen, but yeah, unfortunate we cannot push any more power out of this device. It's absolutely amazing to see that we can even play PlayStation 1 now. But yeah, so out of the box is absolutely a fun overall experience. The RG34XXSP, man, that's a mouthful. Nevertheless, Anbernic didn't really disappoint me when it comes to the unboxing and overall testing. Out of the box, it is a quite nice product. And of course, we can do a lot of tweaking in the future with software to getting better performance, and the overall, let's say, layout and functionality will be improving. It's kind of interesting they're still doing this with the software, that they're not giving you like a different kind of, let's say, firmware out of the box. They will have the reasons for it. You have different colors. Let me know in the comments which one are you going to be picking up. The yellow, the gray, the black, or the indigo. Nevertheless, I'm very pleased with the overall quality. So it's going to be time. It's going to be telling us if this is going to be an overall good product. Particularly when it comes to the hinges, because we have seen problems with different brands. But that's something going to be tell. It's really satisfying click when you're going to be, or actually when you're going to be closing it. The overall quality, I am pleased with it, but we're going to be doing a little bit more testing later on in the future. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.